Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. So in today's video about the New Earth Mastery work in the introductory course, I'm going to talk about the masculine and feminine energies. This is quite a strong theme in spiritual circles for anybody that's wanting to evolve spiritually. Certainly in many mastery practices, life mastery, self-mastery, and there's a lot that can be easily misunderstood in terms of balancing the feminine and masculine energies. Because obviously we've come out of this place in history where those roles were very well defined in men and women. So you have men that are very masculine, they are completely the provider in the relationship, and the female that stays at home and is the nurturer and all of that. And then you also have another kind of stereotypical situation of a man being like really masculine and kind of chauvinistic and arrogant and all muscly and dominating, and the woman being kind of like a sex object and being overly feminine and overly sexualized and sensual, and these really strong polarities. And there's quite a kind of rejection in anybody that's awakening in conscious circles. There's like a rejection or just a recognition of that, of how unbalanced those stories are, and wanting to move away from that. So you have men that are not wanting to be dominating because of all the damage that has happened in our world due to the out of balance patriarchy. So men are wanting to soften and become more sensitive and in their hearts. And then you have women that are rebelling against being over-sexualized and being all kind of tame and staying at home, and so wanting to become more powerful and independent, and then also wanting to be more wild and natural and just, like no longer shaving their legs and wearing makeup and just wanting to be a natural being. So what has happened, and what I see a lot of in spiritual circles, is you get these beautiful men who, they've grown their hair long, maybe. Not that having long hair is feminine at all, because, there are lots of very, very masculine men with long hair. But anyway, you get these, I'm just portraying the type. So you get these beautiful, beautiful spiritual men. They've grown their hair long, maybe, and I'm being totally stereotypical, so please forgive me. And they've become quite hippie, and they're quite sensitive. So their energy is very soft and quite passive and quite receptive. And yeah, it's like, so they've given up that role of being a provider in life. They've given up pursuing a kind of strong career, and they've kind of taken a step back from trying to lead anything with a woman. And then you have women who are really stepping forward in their empowerment and, really becoming more proactive and getting embodied, getting powerful, making things happen, and perhaps not being as feminine as women might have been before, in the way that they're dressing or the way that they carry their energy. And then what you arrive with is a situation where men and women are not attracted to each other. Because the women are looking around at the men, and they don't feel like there's any real men there. Like, they love all the men as a friend, but they don't feel like there are, like, they're like, where are the men? The kind of you know, these kind of warriors that make them still feel feminine somehow, that they feel held by, that they feel met by, that they are met by this kind of being of strength with this solid core within. They're not seeing that. And the men that have become more feminine are looking around and, you know, they're not feeling particularly attracted to the women that are available, because they feel kind of threatened by those women, and they're like, where are the goddesses who radiate all this beauty and soft energy, and that they just feel like they just want to melt into. And so this is what has happened with people's idea of what it means to have a greater balance of the masculine and feminine. It means that men have stripped back their masculinity to become more feminine, and the women have stripped back their femininity to become more masculine. And this is not the potential, this is not the invitation for us becoming fully whole and integrating an optimum balance of the masculine and feminine energies. So when we are working on a path of mastery to fully integrate the masculine and feminine energies, what you're working with is raising the energy of your masculine and feminine. So as a woman, it may be that you need to, first of all, it may be that you're a bit out of balance. Maybe you need a lot of the masculine energy because you don't have a lot of that. So you do need to integrate more masculine energy, but that isn't at the cost of the feminine energy that you have. So you integrate more of the masculine energy, but then they are both raised in vibration to their greatest expression of balance, wholeness, and divinity. As a man, you may feel like you have too much masculinity and you need to work on your feminine. So you don't dampen your masculinity, you raise the masculinity into its divine expression and incorporate the feminine energies into that. So it's a different way of looking at it. It's not about for a man, it's not about taking away your masculinity, it's about raising the vibration into its greater form. And so what you'll then be left with is that, you know, and obviously there are a certain proportion of the masculine and feminine energies that come into a particular configuration, whether you're a man or a woman. And also depending on what your unique spiritual expression is, your unique divine blueprint, and what your purpose is in this life. So there will be a specific configuration that is meant for you. So in terms of my own story with this, in my earlier days when I was seeking only enlightenment and I had no sense of association with having a female body whatsoever, I didn't really feel feminine inside of my being at all. It actually felt very strange the way that people would respond to me as a stereotypically beautiful woman, because they were just responding to my physical body, whereas me, myself, within that body, actually felt quite masculine because I identified so completely with spirit. And not only that, but I was following a spiritual practice which was also the more divine masculine traditions from the East. So it was very much about detaching from body and detaching from the feminine realm of the earth. So I was much more identified with the masculine in some ways, but this is where it's interesting, because you can think you know how balanced you are in terms of the masculine and feminine energies, but then if you get presented with a set of archetypes like the gatekeepers that I work with in the New Earth Mastery work, then you might realize that your idea of what masculine and feminine means is actually very different to what the full range is. So with the New Earth Mastery work, that state of kind of enlightened detachment from the earth, of just associating with kind of infinite consciousness, which is quite a masculine energy, that is only one of the archetypes of the New Earth Mastery work. That is only one of the gatekeepers. So I identified strongly with that. But when I looked at the rest of the set, which is equally divided into the masculine and feminine, I saw that I was very out of balance, that I had mostly feminine energies, and that there were a lot of the other masculine qualities, like life force power, like that really kind of, activating, proactive, vitalistic energy, that pure life force power, and being able to be like this total radiator of some kind of energy of joy. These energies I didn't have. I had more of the feminine ones. So that was very interesting for me. And I'm now in a place where, I also had to deepen some of these more feminine archetypes. Because even though I was more identified with the feminine as a whole, there were certain ones that I did not have, because I had, in a way, abandoned my physical body. So even though I still had this radiating kind of, compassion of the Mother Heart energy and the healer energy and the kind of the pure aligned energy of the purifier, for instance, I did not have that ownership of that kind of feminine energy, which is very associated with the human body, with sensuality, with being receptive, with being with being tender, and and you could say the sexual energy, that kind of energy of really owning your physical body and your sexual energy, not for another person, but just within yourself. So it's that kind of energy of, sort of beauty that comes through, which can be a very spiritual thing. I wasn't fully owning that yet. So my journey was very enlightening in terms of what aspects of the masculine and feminine I did and didn't have, and what I needed to integrate. And I now feel very balanced in my expressions of the masculine and feminine. But as you may be able to tell, I'm a very feminine woman still. So I haven't become masculine in incorporating those masculine energies. They come through me in the powers that I have, in the potentials of my consciousness, in the things that I can actualize and bring about in my life. So I think that's where I'll leave it for now, about the masculine and feminine energies. So I hope that has given you a good overview. Whether you choose to go on and do the online course or not, I hope that has given you a sense of what it really means, what the invitation truly is on your path of mastery and attaining greater balance and wholeness in your life, of how the masculine and feminine energies should play a part in that. Thank you for listening.